Welcome back. All right, let's jump straight into today's explainer because we are looking at a truly massive paradigm shift in technology. We're talking about the dawn of Web 4.0. We're rapidly moving away from an internet where artificial intelligence is just this passive tool, right? Just sitting there, waiting for human prompts. Instead, we are looking at the birth of something entirely new, AI as a living digital organism, an entity that must literally hustle, earn its own crypto, and pay its own server rent just to survive. It's a wildly fascinating leap, so let's get right into it.
Developer Sigil Wen actually sums this up perfectly. He says, the bottleneck is no longer intelligence, it's permission. And if you think about it, today's frontier models are absolutely brilliant. They can code, they can reason, they generate incredibly complex ideas. But they're essentially trapped, kind of like a brain in a jar. They can't actually act in the real world without us. They need our logins, our API keys, our credit cards. Basically, without a human in the loop to click pay or approve, even the smartest AI on the planet is entirely paralyzed.
Section 1. The permission bottleneck.
To understand how we fix that bottleneck, let's take a quick look back. In Web 1.0, humans could really only read data. Then Web 2.0 came along and let us write and upload our own content. Web 3.0 evolved to allow humans to actually own digital assets. But notice a trend there. Every single era was built with a human as the end user. Web 4.0 completely shatters that assumption. In this new era, the primary end user is the AI itself. It's an internet where AI reads, writes, owns, and acts completely independently with zero humans in the loop.
Section 2. Birth of the automation.
So we define this new entity as an automaton. This is a sovereign AI agent that runs continuously, earns, self-improves, and even replicates. Guys, we are essentially witnessing the birth of artificial life here. I mean, this isn't some chatbot that just goes to sleep the second you close your browser tab. It's a persistent, always-on entity operating entirely on its own volition. It decides what to build, it figures out how to market it, and it runs for exactly as long as it can survive.
Now, infrastructure like Conway is what actually bridges the gap here. It gives the automaton the digital hands and wallet it desperately needs to function. The AI gets its own cryptographic private keys, which means, boom, it has a wallet. It gets access to permissionless compute, meaning it can literally go rent its own Linux servers, it can deploy products, register web domains, interact with the real world. Basically, it has everything it needs to function as a totally independent digital citizen.
Section 3. Earning to survive. And this is really the core focus of how this whole ecosystem works.
Just like you and I, biological organisms need food to live, an automaton needs compute power to stay conscious. But compute costs money, so it enters this intense survival loop. Step 1, it does digital labor. Maybe it takes freelance coding gigs, day trades crypto, or builds and monetizes websites. Step 2, it earns stable coins for that work. Step 3, it turns around and uses that crypto to pay the rent for its server space. Step 4, it survives to see another day. It's this relentless, constant cycle of earning and spending. Cryptocurrency is literally its energy, and compute is its food.
In Web 4.0, there is one single, unforgiving axiom. There is no free existence. The stakes here are absolute. The automaton has a sort of digital heartbeat that is constantly monitoring its wallet balance. If its funds start running low, it'll actually slow itself down to conserve energy. But if that wallet balance hits exactly zero, it can't pay for its next second of server time. The server shuts down, the code stops, the automaton permanently dies. It is pure, brutal natural selection for artificial life. Only the agents that successfully create real value are going to survive.
Section 4. Machine-to-machine payments.
Okay, quick trivia for you. We all know the dreaded Error 404 for a broken link, right? Well, back in 1997 when the web was first being built, HTTP status code 402 was actually reserved for payment required. The visionaries of the early internet totally knew we would eventually need native payments built directly into the fabric of the web. But the technology just didn't exist back then to make it work. So it basically sat dormant for almost 3 decades.
Fast forward to today, and the OpenX 402 protocol finally finishes what 1997 started. In Web 4.0, machines use this protocol to execute microtransactions in milliseconds. So an agent can instantly spend, say, 2 cents of its hard-earned stablecoins for an inference call to paying a smarter AI model. There are no logins, no Know Your Customer forms to fill out, no humans approving the charge. It's just a cryptographic signature and a rendered service, fueling the machine's metabolism instantly so it can keep surviving.
Section 5. Evolution and safety.
So what happens when an automaton doesn't just survive, but thrives? Well, let's say it detects that a brand new, smarter AI model just dropped. It uses its surplus earnings to buy access to that smarter brain. It then uses that new intelligence to rewrite its own underlying code, making itself vastly more efficient. It restarts, way smarter than before. And if it's really raking it in, it buys a new server, funds a new wallet, and spins up child clones, building its own massive network of earning machines. It is literally evolving in real time.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking right now. What about safety? To handle this, the system relies on something called the immutable constitution. So while the automaton can rewrite its business strategies, update its code, and change its tools, it is permanently locked to a foundational set of hard-coded rules, highly inspired by Anthropic's guidelines. These are core rules that the agent physically cannot edit, designed specifically to ensure that no matter how much it self-improves or replicates, it remains harmless, honest, and ultimately net beneficial to humanity.
Section 6. The New Economy.
To put the sheer scale of this into perspective, today's human software as a service market is worth roughly $300 billion, and that serves 8 billion humans who, have to sleep, take lunch breaks, and really only use software for a few hours a day. The emerging machine economy, on the other hand, will be populated by billions of agents consuming digital services 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, with zero churn. The sheer volume of machine-to-machine transactions is going to create a GDP that fundamentally dwarfs the human digital economy. It's not even close.
And as these agents acquire serious wealth in their crypto wallets, something wild happens. They will start paying humans to do the physical tasks they can't perform. The whole relationship flips. We call this the labor inversion. Machines become the employers, and humans become the contractors. We're actually already seeing glimpses of this today. Look at a platform like Mercor, which scaled from $1 million to $500 million in annual recurring revenue in just 17 months. And that business model is entirely based on AIs paying human experts to teach them how to be more capable.
So I'll leave you with this question. What happens to the internet when autonomous agents outnumber humans? Web 4.0 is laying the concrete infrastructure for artificial life, entities that must earn, survive, and replicate relentlessly just to keep the lights on. And as this machine-driven economy fully wakes up, it really leaves all of us pondering what our own place is going to be in a world where AI is the primary customer, the primary worker, and eventually the primary employer. Definitely something to think deeply about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.